If you read all of the old Communist Party handbooks and member guides and instruction manuals, you'll find that one recurring thing when they explain how to talk to people. And this was when there were over 1 million members of the party. This was at their our most effective. They said, don't tell them they have a problem. Don't tell people they have problems. Ask them what their issues are, then tell them honestly why capitalism is the reason for it. It's always capitalism, right? Just tell them why, tell them how. Working people get it. They feel exploitation on a visceral level, and all we're doing is supplying the language to describe it.
Absolutely. This is a really good um, comment here. Just discovered you guys. Greetings from Appalachia in Southwest Ohio. Greetings. Great discussion. I agree about the relationship between settlers. There's so many leftists, or I mean socialists and Marxists, who prove what you're saying, kind of, Noah, in like Appalachia. And in the deep south or in deindustrialized Rust Belt states like Ohio, where, generally you think like Trump won the Rust Belt in 2016. So you think a lot of them as conservatives or whatnot. But, these are places that have been deindustrialized, or when you talk about Appalachia, that's been, ignored and been left in economic poverty and degradation for years. These are people whose class interest is in organizing, is in overthrowing the existing ruling class. And it really doesn't matter, going back to what you said about organizing their material interests rather than organizing their ideas. It doesn't fucking matter what they think politically. It doesn't matter who they voted for. Same with the John Deere workers who we went and stood on the picket line with in the Midwest. Yeah, a lot of them told me they vote for Trump. I really don't care. They were engaging in class struggle, and I was talking to them about socialist theory. It's organizing by class and showing people that the answer is not the Democrats or the Republicans.
So,
Neither the social democrats, right? Because
right.
I remember having a conversation with a group of kids that the Bernie organizers the previous day, I can't remember who it was, but they were talking to the kids and they failed, and the person got real flustered that was trying to organize, because they were like, I just don't care about these social programs. It just feels like handouts, and these people have been conditioned to think that these distributive policies are handouts. And when I approached them, one of the kids was a farmer, the other one was a regular worker, and then the other one, who was a Democrat, his father was a big lawyer who had a lot of property. And they asked me what I was, and I told them, look, I'm a communist. And when I explained to them that I started phrasing things in terms of class struggle, in terms of ownership of the means of production, control of the state, all these other things, they're like, why didn't you start with that? why,
Mm-hmm.
why did you start with Bernie? And it's like, at that moment, I was like, fuck, I kind of wish we had like a strong communist party that was running presidential campaigns, because it would make this effort so much easier, because they understand that a lot better. And one of the things that I just finished turning in the draft for the chapter on Gramsci that I've been working on for a while. And the most important thing, in my opinion, that you can take from someone like Gramsci, who I think it's underread in the American left and specifically militant circles, is the necessity to appeal to common sense. Right, that's one of the things that he rants against Bukharin for. But he says you have to absolutely appeal to common sense, and not just common sense understanding, but also common sense feeling and people's desires and their emotions and their passions. And you have to realize, just like Marx and Engels saw with the political economy, they saw that the political economy of capitalism contained certain contradictions, and within those contradictions, like all contradictions, were the seeds for something new, were the seeds for the process of Aufhebung, of sublation, of of something new, of a new world order of socialism. The same thing culturally. If you appeal to the common sense of the people and you study it concretely, you'll find the seeds out of which you can reorient them, rearticulate their common sense towards socialist consciousness. But if you just scratch out people because the current orientation of their common sense is within the bourgeois order, you cannot do anything as a communist, because obviously, because we're in bourgeois society, everyone's ideas are going to be tied to the existing order. And that means tied to racism and to certain forms of bigotry and other things. So our process, our project is one of persuading people over to communism. And what's included implicitly in the idea of persuading people is that they're not already there. And so if we have these purity markers and this purity fetish when it comes to organizing, that we can only talk to people who already agree with us on everything, on social issues, on economic issues, on international issues, we're not going to do anything.
How do we grow?
The opposite of what we have to do. We have to approach people that disagree with us more than the people that already agree with us. Because if we just talk to the people that agree with us, we're just a social group. That's all we are. We're just a club of communists talking about communism with each other when they already agree with each other. You have to approach people that disagree with you, and that means understanding what from within the common sense understanding of everyday life that they already have can you use to reorient towards socialism.